Continuity plan is like having a life jacket on a boat. Most of us don't go boating to find a storm, and it can happen unexpectedly. And if it does and you aren't prepared, it can be disastrous. Well, all three are about sustainability of the business and mitigating risks, but they each have a distinct place. A contingency plan is what we do in advance to say, what could derail my business? External factors like a market downturn, or in this case, a pandemic, or internal factors like a partner becomes seriously ill and dies. And the continuity plan is the playbook or checklist that comes out of the contingency plan that allows you to get your business back on track and operating in these adverse conditions. And a succession plan is really about orderly transfer without an emergency. And in the case of family, it happens once per generation. If an owner dies unexpectedly, the contingency plan can become the succession plan. So all three of these are really important to stabilizing a business. Well, procrastination would definitely be number one, and that's pretty common with all business owners, because when you're busy with the day-to-day in terms of problem solving and taking advantage of opportunities, it just doesn't hit the top of the priority list. But the other reason would be business owners are naturally creative and resilient. So we assume we can just handle anything that comes our way because we always have. However, we've found that the more prepared you are, the faster you can respond and the faster you can align your team around you. And that speed is really critical in an emergency. First would be scenario analysis. So there's many different things that can derail a business. Your building could catch on fire. You could have a flood. Obviously, none of us were anticipating a pandemic. Someone critical in your operations could get sick or die. And so it's looking at those scenarios and saying, how would I respond? And then documenting it would be the second area. It could be legal documentation like employment agreements, shareholder agreements, wills, power of attorney. But then the checklists that surround it are really vital. It's the checklist that takes us from the emotional feeling of shock when these things happen to getting to business, to confirming what are our risks, how am I going to mitigate it, and how are we going to stabilize our business through this critical time. And a lot of advisors assume they're going to be around to make the decisions, but they might not be. They might be in a coma, they might have died, they might be in the hospital on heavy medication. And so who will step in to make those decisions? And this checklist can really help guide them through these difficult moments. And the third area is communication. Everybody should know what your plan is. So many times I've seen an advisor pass away and nobody agrees on what the plan was. And even though they might have written some stuff down, they haven't talked about it. And so when it's written down and you've told them about it, they can take a deep breath and then they can go into that rational mind and look at how they can rise to the occasion to stabilize the business. Absolutely. When you look at the data, statistically, 3% of financial advisors have a contingency plan in place. 3%. And 99% of your clients think you do. And that's not a surprise because of the great work you do for clients. They just assume you have your own house in order. So what a differentiator you'd have if you could actually talk to your clients that you have this written down, particularly with business owner clients and the advisors we've worked with to create these contingency plans, actually share it with their clients and find that their business owner clients want to do the same for themselves. And of course, when you're helping people assess risks, they usually want to insure that risk. And so it can create not only stronger relationships, higher confidence in your business, but help you win new business as well. Yeah, I mean, in terms of getting started, it's really important just to take a quick review of the current state of your business and where you have gaps. Asking questions like, is your team prepared to handle a crisis? Is your documentation clear and up to date to give adequate direction if you weren't around to provide it? And are your business operations resilient enough to adapt? That'll be something that'll be important to look back on after this crisis passes. And financially, did your business weather the storm, and will it in the future? What adjustments do you need to make?